over my troubles. Since you came around. Something struck me. Oh, lately, I've been caught up in my mind. Oh, it's not hard to see what I was feeling down. You saw right through it all. Oh, I could not fake it, no matter how I tried. Ooh, you cured my aching heart when you came around. Saw brilliant signs. I must be right by now. There's a reason why. Ooh, I think it might be over my troubles. Leaving me for so long now. No matter what you do, who you are, or how much money you earn, when it comes to doing taxes, don't go it alone. Jackson Hewitt Tax Pros will make certain you have a single deduction.
Hey, all right. Hey, yo, all right. Listen, I'm real hyper. Let me tell you why. Because I am drinking a Kool-Aid jam, but don't judge me. Yeah, see, we didn't get to drink all this stuff when we were kids. Our mama was making the old school lemonade and tea and all of that. So when I got grown, I decided I was going to eat some oodles and noodles. I was going to drink me some Capri Suns and Kool-Aid Jammer. So, and it's so good. All right, y'all. Listen, this evening is going to be super special. I want to first and foremost let you know that tonight is very, very, very serious, okay? So I definitely want you to get a glass of wine, whatever you drink. Y'all know I don't drink. That's why I got the whole Kool-Aid jam over here. And I really want you to sit back and listen. Open your heart, open your mind, and listen to what we're talking about tonight. Because we're going to talk about a lot of different things. Very, very, very important things, okay? And so I need you to be open-minded, open-hearted, and let's get this rolling on the show. So I am going to bring out a spectacular gentleman who is super duper de-duper talented. And I think that what we're going to do this evening, we're really going to have an opportunity to talk to him about what's been going on, tell his story, tell the truth about his story, but more or less talk to us about his talent and what he has going on. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Cox. Good. I can hold on. Dang.
I can barely
How
hear
are you?
Hear you. I'm there.
Let me see. Let's see here.
Oh, no.
There we go. So I brought Miss Dana out as well. I think we are.
Hey, everybody.
We have some connection issues, but it's all good. We're gonna make it work.
Hey.
The the enemy don't want us to have this conversation, but we're gonna have this conversation.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna have this conversation. So because we can't really hear Lou that well, let me just give you guys the backdrop. First of all, Lou is amazingly talented. He won't tell you everything that he's done, but he's done a lot of writing for very famous rappers. He's done a lot of different things, but what he's really done in the last several years is created some really amazing shoes. And these shoes here, you know, definitely need to be on the likes of the Kim Kardashians, of the Miley Cyruses, and the big, you know, you've seen some of his work. It's pretty amazing, right?
Absolutely.
But he also has a story behind it. You know, one of the reasons why he's not able to really fully pursue his goal of getting these shoes out there and, you know, putting these shoes in front of people is because he's actually had some issues with the law. Okay, imagine that in today's world, or even hell, you know, we've been dealing with this for a long time. But Mr. Cox actually was accused of something and was told that someone identified him. But that person did not identify him. So basically they lied. They put forth pictures that were not his and said that it was him. And then a picture that they put up during one year, they said it was actually him, but it was actually a picture that he had taken much later at the parole officer's office. So they have all of this information there. You know, the Central District of California is where, you know, all of these things transpired. And we cannot get a statement or anything from anybody to understand why this is happening. I know that there's an investigation into this, but you know how those things work. They can be investigating for a minute. And what we want is for Lou to have the opportunity to have someone here that, you know, this evidence, and also we're hoping that this evidence gets him released, because I think that he's been in for long enough for what they accused him of doing that they said they had a witness for that they really didn't have.
Wow. So Lou, listen, I think, look, I can see you moving. I can see you moving now. So tell us a little about how you started making these shoes.
Okay, so originally I was so impressed at what Christian Louis Vuitton did with his red bottoms, how he just took the whole market and went from like barely nothing in the industry to the top of the food chain. So I was watching, you know, and I'm interested. You know, I'm a creative guy. So once I seen it, I said, wow, he took red bottoms and did that. I have ideas. I know what women are like too. And so, you know, I'm going through this whole prison thing. I'm going through this whole courtroom thing, and I really didn't understand how I was being convicted of the things that they said I was doing, and I was distraught. So I figured I'd focus on something else. So I focused on shoes, and I started designing my shoes first in pen and drawing up designs. And then when I got to prison, after I got convicted, I got 25 years, by the way. After I got convicted, they allowed us to have a hobby shop. So we had a hobby shop, and they had like leather purse making classes. So I didn't want to make purses. So I convinced the warden to allow me to make prototype high heel shoes. So in order to make the shoes, what I had to do is I had to glue like mounds of popsicle sticks together, like literally glue them together with Elmer's glue, and then carve my shapes for the hard portion of the shoe, and then sand it and then paint it. And then I learned that if you take floor wax and age it for about 3 months with the top off, like little portions at a time, you can make basically a gloss, like a plastic coating. So then I started coating the hard portion of the shoes, and then I learned how to sew, and I started making the shoes for designs. And then after that, I decided, well, I'm going to try to make some real ones. So I sent my prototypes to China, and I had them make real versions of my prototype popsicle stick shoes. So in the end, it ended up working, and I ended up getting like 4 different pairs made in China. But I'm not quite, you know, I kind of want to try some Italian cobblers instead of just dealing with China, just to see if I can change the quality of the duplicate, because sometimes I look at my prototype and it looks better than the China. So I've got to figure out how to match my prototype with the quality that I'm expecting, because I really want this to be on Kim Kardashian, Miley, Cyrus. I want the big names. I want Beyonce to wear a pair of my shoes and call them Lewellyns. you know, and in the midst of all that, I discovered all the errors in my case, how they tricked me, how they got me. And what they did was, basically, in a nutshell, let me explain how they did my case and how this all kind of relates, because in the end, I was saying to myself, well, maybe one day somebody somebody will care. I can show them my shoes, and they can care, and they can actually see that there are real people in here, and that we're not all some monsters and criminals like they would like it to be. I mean, because it makes a lot of sense to just, give people all this time, but you got to call them a monster in order to do it. So here's what happened to me. I'm here on a bank fraud case. So they said that there was a conspiracy that started in 2005 to commit bank fraud, and it ended in 2011. And they placed me at the top of the food chain. They basically said that I went out to these people, gave them checks. They went in the bank, cashed the checks, and gave the money to me. Now, when I was going through trial, I never ever met these people. And I was telling my attorney, listen, man, I never met any of these people. So for me to be the guy that actually gave them a check, drove them to the bank, this is completely false. First of all, I can't even see the six packs you guys are giving me. So they gave me these six packs where all the pictures were pitch black. A six pack is 6 pictures on a single page. They gave them to me pitch black. So I couldn't see my own photo. So I said, hey, my attorney, I said, man, go down there and get me one I can see. I'm telling you, I never met any of these people. And sure, I've done some things. But this portion of what you're claiming I didn't do. And I didn't even get involved in this until way down the line. So what you did was you expanded the life of the conspiracy to create a larger amount of money to make headlines. Okay, and in order to do a conspiracy, you have to have 2 people who agree to commit a crime at a specific time, and then it travels on and ends at a specific time. So by me never meeting these people in the early stages of this conspiracy, it was difficult for them to grab all these people and put them all together in one pot and create a big pot of money and say, yeah, he's behind it all, or them 2 or them 3 are behind it all, when them 2 or 3 didn't even know each other. Okay, so at that time, so what happened was, so I get the picture. I tell them to go down there and look and show me a real six pack that I can see, so I can see my own face. I don't believe it's me they circled. So all of the six packs, it's 5 of them. All of them say they were signed on 11/2/05 in 2005. So I say, listen, man, in 2005, first of all, there were portions of that time when I was in the county jail, suspended license, or whatever I was in jail for. But I know I wasn't there. So I didn't know when, though. So turns out the photos were all signed and shown in an interview in 2005, but I didn't take my picture until October 30th, 2008. So how could it have been shown to these 5 witnesses before I take the photograph? So what this did is it exposed the corruption that's within the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Secret Service. They're so adamant about creating headlines and moving up the chain that they'll grab any person and do whatever they want if they feel justified, which is not really how the law works. It's not how you feel. It's kind of what you can prove and what's true. Okay, so when they did that to me, I had no idea until I got to prison, and I was like 5 years into my bid, and I did a Freedom of Information Act request to the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. This was the first time I seen a clear photo, and I seen the photo. As soon as I seen the photo, I knew where I took the picture, what I did that day, who took the picture, what happened after I took the picture, and how it could not have been signed or even shown to these witnesses in 2005. So at that point, what I did was I contacted an attorney. Well, that was probably 4 years later. So I contacted an attorney, and I don't know if you're familiar with Christopher Darden, but he prosecuted OJ. Okay, so I contacted Christopher Darden, and he said he'd take my case. So he took my case, We ended up getting a statement from the parole office specifying the specific time, date, and who took the photo. And once we got that, then we filed a SIR reply because I'd already filed a habeas corpus. I didn't know where to get the picture. I just knew where I took it. So I filed a habeas corpus and he took over. And so he filed a SIR reply and he added this new evidence proving that the claims I had been making the whole time were true, that I was never in the photo and I was never shown to those people in 2005 because my photo didn't exist. And then we found out also, just a little bit before that, that a couple of those dates, I was in the Los Angeles County Jail, so I couldn't have been out there passing a check to these people. So the Los Angeles County Jail says, well, hold on. We had him this day. How could he be out there that day passing a check to those people? And then the state of California parole office says, well, hold on. We took the picture in 08. You couldn't have showed it in 05. So now we got a serious issue here, right? We got a man that's done 11 years in prison, sentenced to 25 years in prison for bank fraud, an inflated conspiracy that gathered a whole bunch of people that didn't know each other and made them all connect by false evidence. And now you're claiming that I took $8 million, which I didn't, but they claimed it and the judge pounced on it. And he did what he did, and they tricked me, and they got me here in prison. So once I got to prison, I decided I was, an old sergeant lady told me before I got sentenced, she says, listen, when life deals you lemon, make lemonade. So that just stuck with me. This lady was old enough to retire, and I just respected her for telling me that. And she looked at me one day, she says, why are you so down? I said, you wouldn't even understand, man. If I told you that I'm being framed, you wouldn't even believe it. So I'm down. I have a family. I have children. I'm losing everything. So she said, when life deals you lemons, make lemonade. So I started designing these shoes. I don't know why I chose shoes, but I know it's a lucrative business. And I know I have a talent for looking at what women should have on their feet. So once I started designing them and I figured out, at first it was just like troubleshooting. I said, hey, what'll happen if you glue some popsicle sticks together? Can you make a solid mound? So I tried it. And they sold popsicle sticks at the prison I was at. So I'm collecting all the popsicle sticks from everybody just to make a prototype, right? So I gather enough. And then I take my razor apart, the one I shave with. And I take the razor and I cut my shape slowly. Then when I got to the hobby shop, they let me use sandpaper under supervision, of course, but I had sandpaper. So then I sanded my shapes and sanded. So then they have maintenance guys that clean up, mop floors. And so I pay him to give me some floor wax. So I figure if someone told me if you age the floor wax long enough, it'll become plastic. Then it'll dry into a hard plastic, and whatever you put under it looks plastic. If it's painted, of course. So I sand it all the way down. A prototype may take me a month. I sand it down, I paint it, I shape it, I get the shape. I'm looking at magazines. I'm blowing them up on the copy machine that's in the legal library and trying to get the right size. I remember my girlfriend had a foot the same size as my hand. So I use that as my marker. So this got to be about the size of my hand. So I'm taking that and I'm sanding and I'm carving and I'm sanding and I'm painting and I'm coming up with colors and I'm drawing and then I'm going back and I'm redoing it. And then suddenly we've got voila, this guy has actually created a shoe. You can't wear it, of course, but I created a shoe. So once I created this design, I end up talking to some people on the streets and I said, hey, you think you can help me reach the people in China? I figure a way the money. Mother pay for it. If you help me reach the people in China, what happened? They remade for me. I may say like it is, and I feel like until I affect this quality. because I know what I want to do. So I came up with a patent. Hold on. But when you take a sleeve that slides over the heel, and I'm gonna make jewels, real life old things like slide it over just the heel, and that way a woman could have her own custom sleeve on the back of her heel. So when she's walking, hers may be worth 20,000. Another woman's might be worth 500, but it depends on what she decided she wanted on her sleeve.
So we gotta back up one
Right.
second. We gotta back up because we missed some of it. Our connection is a little funky, but it's all good. Let's roll back. So what were you
Okay.
saying about how did we get to the sleeve? Like, how did you begin to say this is what I'm gonna do and make it really, really, really special for each person?
Well, the problem is that I didn't think I can compete with Christian Louis Vuitton with his red bottoms. They were just too popular. So I figured the best thing you can do is create a jewel sleeve so expensive that when you send it to Kim Kardashian, she's gonna wear it. And if she ever decides to wear it and take a picture in my sleeves that are probably $10,000, that she take a picture in it, and then they can say, okay, this guy in prison came up with this patent called jewel sleeves, where he's sliding these sleeves over the heel, just the heel portion, the thin little portion. It just slides up. It's hollow. You slide it up, boom. Now you got diamonds on the back of your heels, or now you got rubies, or now you got a dragon tail shape, or now you got a snake wrapping around. It's all diamonds. Or I come up with different thoughts. Like I have shoes where I've designed one for Miley Cyrus. She's never seen it, of course, but I've been trying to get it to her. It's so difficult in my position. But I designed a shoe for her. I figured since she was crazy enough to do almost anything, she might wear them. So I made a pair of shoes. Well, one design, it's a prototype, but it's actually a dragon with a angel with angel wings holding a leash around the dragon's neck, all carved, all up under the foot. Yeah, so I did the best I could with the resources that I got access to. But if I did have access to what they have on the street, I believe I can compete fiercely. And I just need a chance for somebody to hear me and understand that listen, we're not all bad, man. I want to teach these children what they're doing in the feds. So I wrote 5 books titled Anti-Crime Education. And these 5 books, I self-published them myself. And these 5 books, they're basically a lesson for how I ended up where I am and why you should go the other way. And you see, a lot of times we're defeated in the fact that we believe our color is a detriment to our society, to our well-being in this society. And a lot of times a black man kind of gets the worst end of the stick. So, I mean, now I have a different outlook at it. I just believe I have to be more exceptional in order to be seen, in order to be respected. So I've been, from prison. Now I had produced songs for Snoop Dogg and Coolio, and I got some money before I came into this problem. So I had an old 1990 Ferrari that I had from when I did the Snoop Dogg record. So I sold it. I sold the Ferrari, and I bought me some trucks and paid for my attorney. I bought some semi trucks. And to this day, right now, I've got 2 semi trucks and a full blown business running out there on the streets right now. So
Listen, do it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it. And what I'm saying is, you don't have to be confined to the fact that you're a black man. Yes, they're going to pounce on you if they get a chance to. Look how they did me. I doubt very seriously if I was a white man, I would have got done like this. I got 25 years for bank fraud. Nobody but Bernie Madoff gets that. I didn't even reach a billion or a 10 million. They had $8 million they claimed, and they give the Caucasian male 8 years for that. You gave me 25 years, you know? So it was a whole lot of evilness in the courtroom, a whole lot of inner and bitter for the black man. I'm saying I'm saying the institution allows opinion, and the opinion can fester in the process. It can in the position where they're creating a case. Okay, they may feel sympathy for the white guy they can relate to, but what about this black dude? This, you feel that you need to marry him because you have an inner hatred. You never know how this is playing out, but that's how they're killing us. They're locking us up even more, but no one's speaking about that. That is actually, Michelle Alexander said it the best, the new Jim Crow, and that's how they're controlling society and get us subdued. They snatch our children. Happens to our wives, our women. We have support. When other it's a vicious cycle. And so what I want to do is I want to create these shoes with these jewel sleeves, my patent, and I'll lease the patent out to different brands. To donate a portion of money to the education of children, to an anti-crime education for children. So they can see what they do in the courtrooms. They can see exactly really how this is. They try their raps. People that are really doing this, they're saying these songs, they're going to prison long mind. And you see it in the 25 years since for drug crime. It'd be not white like myself. Now I probably should do what it's in for me to do.
So guys, just bear with us. You know that Mr. Cox is on the inside, so we have to be mindful that the technical difficulties, the network, the connection is a little bit crazy, but we making it work. We're making it work. So Lewellyn, we missed a lot because it was breaking up here and there. But I think the last important thing we heard though was that you are really advocating for anti-crime education. Like you are on it. You've been writing books.
Absolutely.
On your case.
It should be in the schools. Yeah, that should be in the schools. We should have a curriculum that basically teaches a moral-based education so that the children can understand that it's not what they think it is. The reality behind it is a detriment to your whole existence. I mean, time is all you got in life. Time. And it's something you cannot ever get back. So if you consider time the most precious commodity our Creator has ever given us, then you'll understand when they subtract time from you, they are destroying you and your lineage behind you. So that needs to be an education that's in schools. And if I were ever to get my shoes to the level of Christian Louis Vuitton, I would make sure all the schools in America have free books and free education. Education. I mean what's right from what's wrong. This is important. If they don't understand it, which children, I mean, they learn quick, but they're not born with this. Their parents have to teach them. And a lot of times the parent isn't even there. And that's the position I'm in. A man with 7 children has been down for 11 years. Can you imagine the changes that the children went through? What my ex-wife went through? Like, I mean, it's a horrible situation. And to make it even worse is how the federal government allowed them to do this. Now, what they did to me with the falsifying the 6-packs, this has been discovered one other time. If you Google Detective Michael Folder, this is an officer that did the same thing they did to me, but in New York, that prosecutor was an upstanding prosecutor. He caught it. He let the man go, and he prosecuted the officer and sent him to federal prison. That's what needs to happen here, because what happened to him is the exact same thing that happened to me. But mine happened before his happened, and his got discovered before mine got discovered. So we have to come to a consensus as a society that prosecutors have to be checked. They're not all honest. Just because he's wielding the pen and has the suit doesn't mean he's honest. They're not. And the majority of the time, they're making these decisions so that they can create a better position at their career. But it's destroying a life all at the same time, and several lives attached to that single life. So I'm just saying, let's look for a brighter future. I'm going to create the greatest shoes ever created by a black man for women. And one day, this will all make sense what I'm saying. And we'll look back to this and we'll say, man, the guy, he really said this vision a long time ago. No, I'm going to create the greatest, best pair of shoes women could buy from a black man. And I haven't seen too many black men designers. I'm not gay. And I don't have anything against gays, but I have a heterosexual perception of what needs to be on a woman's foot. And that's a difficult way to look at it, but it's a reality behind that. That perception that I see is a perception that maybe even the women won't accept right away. But as it grows and they notice the men really like it, because why do women wear high heels? They don't wear them for themselves. They wear them so that they look good in them for men. It's a cycle.
listen, but the shoes that I've already seen, yeah. Baby, I told him I want them. Tell him I need them in a 10. I love them.
Okay, I got you.
The dragon,
I got you.
The dragon looking, oh my God.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I want everything.
Can you imagine that with a diamond jewel sleeve with the spine made of diamonds?
Listen, I can imagine. I can feel it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Know. Shoes are life.
I'm saying, and I think they're one of the best things women that buy.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Cox. If people want to know more about you, if people want to be able to connect with you like this, let us know how we can reach you. I know we can go through Dana and your mom. Let me say this: your mother ain't no joke. I spent an hour with her talking about your case, about how we're gonna address it, and things of that nature. Your mother don't play. I love her. I think that we're not disconnected. So guys, if you're just tapping in, we are talking with Mr. Lewellyn Cox. And so just so you know, he is currently a federal inmate. So he's talking to us from the inside, but he designs high-end shoes. He has been blessed with Chris Darden and is actually looking at his case so that he can appeal it. So one of the things that we definitely want to do, guys, research him. You know, his name is Lewellyn Cox. Like I said, he's designing these shoes. Research him. check him out. One of the things we always say over here on All Things Authentic on It's Consulting Time is that we believe in transparency through truth. And so he has a lot of evidence. If you look at the promo video, you will see I showed you the evidence. I showed you the lineup photos. I showed you the doctored up photos. This is something that we have to fight for. We have to advocate for. We have to understand that the system isn't always right. Why? Because people make up the system. So we already know that people make mistakes, and it's something that's really, really, really serious. So Mr. Cox actually, like I said, he's in on the inside. Connection not really doing too good, but I really wanted you to hear just some of his story, so you can see, hear, and understand that everybody on the inside shouldn't be there. Things happen, and we have to stop these things from happening. So hopefully we'll have another opportunity to talk to Mr. Cox. Hopefully I can bring his mom on. She's super duper dope. But until next time, remember, on All Things Authentic, we definitely still emphasize purpose over popularity and its transparency through truth. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen.